Welcome to Meet the Industry. Please have a seat. The show is about to begin.
Good morning, Vietnam! Hey, this is not a test. This is rock and roll.
Really delighted to share this episode with you today. I had a conversation with Swetha Rao about a month ago. We all know her as Raja Kumari, the rapper singer from LA who has now made India her home. She's very talented and has been signed a couple of months ago by Mass Appeal, which is a record label owned by the legendary rapper Nas. We've gone through her journey, and personally, I have explored aspects of it to get a perspective of her as an artist and where exactly it is she comes from. A lot of the times we just see the artist on stage and hear their music on our phones, but rarely do we try to see what's beyond, what's their story, and I feel that the story is important because it provides context. The context is everything because then we truly understand what the artist needs to express. That in turn helps us find certain answers about our own selves as artists because our job is to express in the best possible way. And this is what the podcast is about. I can talk about all the things we could do on the outside, but in the end, what's inside has to come out first before anything external can push us forward. We've all seen musicians who aren't as socially proficient as they are indoors with their music and words and instruments. And that's because they spend all that time with themselves, feeding their character to in turn express their feelings. Raja Kumari has one such story to tell, and that was clear to me before I even approached her to do this episode. She's one of the brightest stars in the independent music scene globally, and she's only getting stronger by each release. Her video content is incredible, her persona is tremendous on screen, and she's actually setting the bar for a generation of girls and women in the country to express themselves through an outlet that is music. So, without further ado, I present our conversation for the next 1 hour. Here we go. So, how have you been? Firstly, welcome to Meet the Industry. I'm so glad you agreed to do this. Thank you so much.
No, I appreciate you having me. I'm good. I'm in America, in quarantine, like the rest of the world, and just kind of adjusting and looking forward to coming back to India soon, but also just kind of in taking advantage of this time, and just relaxing. Honestly.
Yeah, because you've been really busy with a lot of shows, and I actually didn't know that you had already left for America. When did you go?
I think I left on the 14th morning. So I feel like there was like an announcement that Europe would close on the 12th. You made the announcement on the 13th night I left.
You're really lucky to have made it there, safe and sound.
Yeah, my dad he had some instinct on that situation and we followed it.
Wow, I'm so happy that this happened so that you got to even spend time with your parents and really you can say unadulterated time, very pure time with parents.
Yeah, actually the crazy thing is I'm not actually with them because I was in India. I have to quarantine for 2 weeks. So I just completed that yesterday. But my dad is a doctor, so he's been practicing in the hospital. So now he wants to self.
Busy.
No, he's done work. He stopped working, but he needs to quarantine for 2 weeks before I can see him.
Right. That's kind of a bummer, but
yeah, so it's gonna be a month of solitude. But I guess I haven't really been alone for one day in years, so it's its own blessing,
Yeah, is mom with you?
No, my parents are about an hour away. I'm at my own house. I'm just
okay.
I haven't been able to really live here. I've been in India the last 3 years, so I'm just taking advantage of being in my house.
So at the moment, are you sort of completely disconnected with your musical self? Are you isolated from that aspect, like making music or writing songs?
No, I don't think anybody that's an artist can ever be like fully isolated from making music. I did get like a new setup because I knew that I was going to be spending a lot of time at home. So I wanted to able to record at home. I've been doing a few projects, but mostly I've just been sleeping and reading and watching some movies. And, I just finished an album right before all of this. So
Wow.
I kind of, I was working really hard for about 2.5 months just on the album. So I had just finished this huge expenditure of energy. So I guess I'm on the vacation I deserve.
Yeah, it's like divine intervention,
Yeah.
in a way.
You
The
know,
gods telling you that.
yeah, we're getting the first single out April 10th, and it was slated prior to all of this. And the craziest thing about the video was, the song is called NRI, so it's about like the duality of being from both cultures and kind of like the struggles I'd faced. And I'd even contemplated whether to put the song out or not, but I just realized that it's a very honest expression. I just
Right.
sometimes I don't like to say things that I know are going to cause controversy. So that's why I wondered, like, would this song be received? But I realized I have to speak my truth. But I wanted to shoot it half in Los Angeles and half in Mumbai, which is like my life. So the
Yeah.
Los Angeles half I actually shot during the Grammys week. When I was home, I came home for 5 days. I shot the
Mhm.
video the day that I was leaving to India, and the
Wow.
other video I shot the morning I left from India back to LA. So I shot it on the like 13th morning. So this
Wow.
video, it wouldn't have even been able to be shot because it was like the last 2 days that, by the time I landed, everybody was in quarantine in LA. So I'm just
Right.
glad that we got it done, and that it's coming out during this time. And I'm not overthinking it. I'm just giving the people the music because everybody's at home right now, and I realize
Yeah.
it's important to give them the music.
Yeah. So, if I'm not wrong, you're planning to release this in April under Mass Appeal.
Yes, my first
Yes.
release with Mass.
It's really a fresh news that has just come in about you that you've just signed up to Mass Appeal. And I wanted to actually talk to you about that.
Okay.
So, basically, I mean, first going back to you having to release this track at this time,
Yeah.
I think it's really a good opportunity that you're getting. You're probably going to get a lot more attention with this music coming out for this.
We gotta
Right.
hope. There's just so much out there in the public. I just, when I release music, I don't release it with some idea or some goal of what it's supposed to be received as. I just release it into the world, and I just like hope that people understand the intention.
Right.
So if more people watch it, great. If people receive it, fantastic. Because I'm definitely leaning on music and art right now to get through my life.
Right.
So, I'm happy to.
Is this going to be released along with the video?
Yes, I like to work that way. I like to keep the visual and audio together. It's a very
Yeah.
straightforward song. I just came off of Bindis and Bangles, which had this very like ethereal, like just like
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
world that we created, and it required a huge staff and like a big production. I mean, I was thinking back on it,
Yeah,
like
it was huge. The
even
video I saw.
it's so crazy because like right now it's like it's going to be a while till people can even put together production like that. So I'm really thankful I was able to really pull off my vision with the video at the time that we did. But this video is very straightforward. I just wanted to go back to my roots. I signed
Uh-huh.
the Mass Appeal. I'm signed to one of the greatest rappers of all time, so I just wanted to be very
Absolutely.
authentic and very straightforward on this. I didn't want all the flower, pomp, and circumstance. I just wanted to be about the bars. So this is like why we chose this song to come first.
Nice. So, is this an EP with just a? I mean, is it going to be just a single, or are you going to also have another track on it?
So no, this is part of an EP. It's the first single off an EP. I like to work with bodies of work. I think of my
Right.
projects like chapters, and I feel like you're like laying the mythology of your character and the story and what you want to tell people. And this
Yeah.
third installment of my story is called The Bridge, and the new album
Okay.
is really about bridging East and West and bridging ancient into the future, and just bridging dimensions, and just it really covers a lot of different concepts, but it's something that I've conceptually been thinking about for many years. So I'm happy to finally like put that project together.
So it's more like a concept based album that you have
I think all of my
created.
I think all my albums are concept based in some
But this
way.
is going to be your first LP, if I'm not wrong.
No, the come up. No, like you mean like long form. I feel like
Yeah,
albums, EPs. It's like 7 tracks as an album now, and EPs are
yeah,
But it's
two or
definitely
three.
about 7 tracks. All my projects are about 7 tracks. The come up was about manifestation, setting intention. Bloodline was about defending, what's important to you and what you're willing to do for, who you are and where you come from, accepting that. And
Right.
the bridge is really about healing and about
Yeah.
acceptance and about, being open. And, I hope people get that energy from it because it was something I had to make. After I made Bloodline, I really had to make this album.
I think I really feel that energy, in fact, in all your songs, and they all have this unique message inside them. And especially with the visuals, it just feels more strongly, the message that you're trying to put across. And it's really palpable, So I think that this artistic identity of yours plays a big role in what you put out as in lyrics as well as in your video. So maybe
I
could you?
try to take advantage of that opportunity to not just like influence people like with their clothes or influence people with fashion or just like have them listen to the music, but it's really about
Ideology.
it's like a perspective more than anything, perspective, and
Right.
I've grown up in a very, unique way in a lot of ways, like growing up in America, but being so immersed in classical tradition and,
Hmm.
and just, going back to India. Like a lot of people that grew up in America don't really think about moving home to India. So I just feel like maybe it's just an alternate perspective, that I'd like to share with people. And
Right. So when you sat down maybe one day to conceptualize uh, the avatar of Raja Kumari,
mhm.
uh, what was the process like? I mean, what were the things going on in your head? Because I think very few musicians really uh, come successful to capture a really strong alter ego.
Hmm.
Uh, so I want to know. I'm really curious to see how you might have come up with it, especially since you are so focused on the Indian tradition and bringing out the Indian aspect of uh, yourself.
Yeah, I think it's all connected. Like my classical training had made me fascinated with this world of the Mahabharata, Ramayana, these characters, these strong women. The first character I ever played was Devi in Mahishasura. So I was slaying a demon at 6 years old. So
Yeah.
my yeah, like my foundation in strong women was Devi and Sita and
Yeah.
Saraswati and Mira and Mira is this that was the first dances I learned, and that's also why it inspired me to write the song Mira. And just thinking about like a princess that gave up everything to write love songs for Krishna, like these characters were so enthralling to me and so interesting and
Yeah.
I related with
Yeah.
them that Raja Kumari was like this superhero conglomeration of all the powerful parts of all of them, a little attitude,
Yeah. Wow.
a little bit of everything I'd seen. And, it was just kind of, I made like a superhero character because when I was a young girl and I was really insecure and, doubting myself and I went
Yeah.
through what I went through, I had wished that there was somebody that I could look up to that was Indian, that was proud because I didn't want to give up my culture. Because in America, there's a lot of a desire to assimilate. And because I loved my classical dance so much, I just couldn't give it up. Maybe if I had just learned Bollywood style only, or like, maybe if I had just done some folk dance or something, maybe I would have assimilated. But it was like I learned the dance of the Devadasis. Like I was just so rude.
Yeah.
I just was like, no, we need like a superhero, and classical Indian dance needs to be on a main stage. So I
Yeah.
knew from the beginning that the classical dance couldn't be separated. So obviously, it's like it colors everything I do, from fashion to the imagery to the positioning on stage of my dancers, to the sanctifying of the stage with roses petals before I walk on. All these
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
come together, but it's all about creating a sacred space where the goddess energy can be celebrated, and that's just really what I like to do on stage.
I think this is really a wonderful perspective on how you've taken Indian tradition and the Indian the grand characters in Indian folklore like Mahabharata and Ramayana and Sri Krishna and all. We've literally grown up watching those series on TV, but
Yeah.
I mean, I rarely see or hear or I've met people who talk about these characters in a way that you've just described. Because when we were growing up, we all wanted to be either Spider-Man or Batman.
See, I didn't even
And
know. Like Superman was
yeah,
not my superhero. Arjun was. Like,
yeah.
Hanuman was
So
my
I mean,
superhero.
the thing is that we never saw that gods can be sort of combined with the whole idea of being a superhero, and that's something I'm really fascinated to know that someone who actually thought something like this is now you know just giving such a fresh perspective on how you can take Indian culture and actually make it so larger than life.
It's
And
just it was so necessary for me to survive, like culturally here, to like love my culture. And like I get a lot of flack from like people in India, and they're like, oh, it's so weird the things people say to me. It's so strange. But it's just like, I don't think people ever think about, they always want to say things about, oh, you're from the diaspora, you're NRI, you don't understand. But it's like, imagine growing up like really far from the motherland, like being separated from your mother and
yeah,
knowing it, and always longing and feeling like you don't belong. And when people tell you you don't belong, you think you belong there, and then to go there and be treated as if you don't belong there too is really alarming. But then it just told me to stay. It told me to move. It told me to move to India. It told me to understand. It told me to, that there was a lot that I didn't get. I figured that out very quickly. Like, there was a
yeah,
lot of things that I did not understand. I still don't understand.
yeah,
A lot of the ideas I have of India are like historical and ancient, and
yeah,
they're philosophical, and I know that there's a different India at play right now. But I
yeah.
just want to focus on the things that make me happy, the things that brought me joy in my life, and that was, the beautiful parts of our culture. And I just like,
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot going on, but I still think that it survived for so long for a reason.
I think I've said this before to my cousins who are from America, and I keep saying that to them a lot. And it's that uh, whoever I've seen that has grown up and been brought up in America or even outside, just outside India, basically, Indians, they all really tend to be very, very attached to the Indian culture. And a lot of times they are even more attached and they are more embracing of it than us Indians also. And I have just seen it so many times.
I
They,
do that too, and it's like so. It's like when I hear you say that, I just wonder like what's gonna happen in 10 years. Like if we are the result of our parents leaving in the 70s and holding on, and
Mhm.
if the people my age in India are not holding on, then what's gonna happen in 20 years? And that's just like
Yeah,
something that really bothers me, because for me, the classical dance kind of gave me everything. It rooted me in
yeah, yeah.
myself, gave me my confidence. It taught me about who I am. It taught me rhythm. It taught me spirituality. And the idea that it
Sure.
can be lost is really scary to me. And that's why I try to
But
put
I don't,
everything I do.
in my opinion, I don't think that this culture or tradition will get lost because I see a lot of people outside India and these people who are not Indian are embracing a
I
lot of things that are
know.
typically Indian.
But that's a little bit scary, because you have to think about this. Like my guru, okay, who taught me 3 classical styles, she learned from the main gurus in Kuchipudi village. Like she dedicated her whole life, right? And she
Right.
just died last year. So with her
Mhm.
goes her art. And so you have to understand that this generation of people that sacrificed everything to learn the traditional classical arts is like dying off.
True,
So
true.
that's why I feel like artists like Sid Sriram, and like things I'm trying to do. I guess I'm just going to name Sid right now. It's just going to do its
Yeah,
work to try to just
keep it
influence
alive.
somebody to just learn. If somebody
Yeah,
watches my video, Believe in You, and they
Yeah.
decided to learn Bharatanatyam instead of jazz, then I've done my job.
Yeah, and I think you are really, really in a good position to do that, because it just shows that you being outside of India is willing to pass on this message to people in India by being in India.
Yeah,
And
good living.
I think with the videos that you're doing, any kid growing up watching your videos, I'm pretty sure they will be influenced by it, because this was going to actually bring me to my next question, was that when you were like so immersed in Indian classical tradition and culture,
Uh-huh.
how was it that you were able to fuse this idea with hip hop, which is something so Western and so American?
Yeah, I think like for me, rap was my like rebellion from my parents because like the classical
Right.
dance was something that like the whole family was in on, and it was something that started when I was 6 years old. That went on heavily until I was about 15, and around
Mhm.
15, I had changed to a public high school. A lot had changed in my life, and I just
Mhm.
really wanted to pursue music because I felt like my dance had hit the ceiling of how much exposure it could have or how much influence it could
Okay.
have. And
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I really wanted to, reach the world. I really knew that I was supposed to be on a world stage. So I thought, the music will take me there. It definitely was not the easiest transition with my family. Like, I come from a
Hmm.
family of doctors, and if I wasn't going to do medicine, then I was supposed to marry a doctor and be a dance teacher and continue dancing. Like, that was the deal. So that's not really what happened at all. I ended up
Yeah.
pursuing music at such a at a high level and fully, and
Right.
but my parents, I wouldn't have been able to do any of it without their support. And even though they weren't exactly understanding why their daughter, because if I was singing songs like Celine Dion, then they would be
Yeah.
more into it. But like I was making music they didn't even understand. So
Right.
I really have to give credit to my parents for like really letting me follow my bliss and follow my passion. But
Yeah.
it was definitely a rebellion. It was honestly because I didn't feel like I belonged, a lot of
Yeah.
ways. And when I
Yeah.
heard the Fugees album with Lauryn Hill, I just related with her so much. I just thought she was so incredible and just so like just powerful, and I wanted to be just like her. So I quickly realized that like rapping and jatis were very similar because I had been learning all the
Okay.
intricate jatis like
Okay. I actually didn't know what jatis is. I've just
yeah,
heard the word, but
like I have been learning all these jatis like dolls,
okay.
and they call jatis in classical
So
dance.
is that part of singing? I
Classical
mean,
dance.
in Indian classical?
Yeah, that's actually footwork. It's like in between
Oh,
the
okay.
dance, we'll take a dance break and it'll just be all rhythmic. So I realized very early that those rhythms were just rap as well.
Yeah, because rap is all about rhythm more
Yeah.
than rhyming.
Well, yeah, the rhyming is important too, and the same thing with the dolls. If you listen to it, like
Yeah.
Kumari, daughter of the king. How long you think that you could keep up with my tempo dance and the rhythm dance in the Himalaya? It's the same rhythm.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That makes sense now. So yeah, I
Yeah,
mean that's really interesting.
I guess I felt at home after that. So then, as I dealt with trying to find myself in two different cultures that weren't exactly, because even when I was dancing as a classical dancer as a kid, they'd be like Kumari Swetarao USA. So it's like I still wasn't like fitting in. So it was
Yeah.
something that helped me be both at the same time.
So you at that point you knew that you had to be doing hip hop, and Indian culture and tradition was a very strong backdrop to it.
Yeah, like the first song I ever wrote was called Ganges Flow, and it was about the Ganga. So I think it's always been that for me.
Speaking of songwriting, actually, you have a lot of experience being a songwriter for other professional pop stars. I mean, successful pop stars.
Yes, I have been very lucky to do that. Yes.
And yeah, I mean, it's not very a well-known concept here to be a songwriter, and not for yourself but for others. I think that's not a very popular uh, a route to be a part of the music industry.
There's lyricists in Bollywood music. I think just like if you want to be a pop star, you don't think about writing for somebody else. But in America, there's a whole other infrastructure, So
Exactly.
as a songwriter, like in 2012 when I started songwriting, I would go to sessions, different sessions every day, and I wouldn't even know the producers or the other writers. I would just show up. And the crazy thing about that is that you get a chance, to work on all these different types of projects. Sometimes these people don't want to work with me as an artist because I can't prove that I can sell records, but they're willing to have me in the room to write a song for someone else.
Right.
So that gives me the relationship with the producer. That gives me the experience. That gives
helps you get your foot at the door at least.
And then I'm also singing the demo, so somebody's going to hear my voice. So I figured that out. Like that you can't really. You can't rest on one song, and you can't really pay for everything in the beginning. You need so many more songs. So I just, I really I took like about 2 years where I didn't really even work on my own album. And I really wanted to focus on the craft, the songwriting craft. And I just loved everybody. I took every session possible. I went on songwriting camps all over the world. I, 2 sessions a day, sometimes, 16 hours. And I just sowed a lot of seeds and I waited. And they all started to blossom at the same time, and proving that I could sell 1 million records, with Fall Out Boy or Fifth Harmony or Gwen or whoever or Iggy or whoever I wrote with, just proved that I could sell 1 million records. So then it was really just about getting the
that just further reassured you to continue doing your songwriting, working with them.
Yeah, no, it just reassured them. It's like I realized early that all the artists that I really liked had written songs for other artists. So if I successfully write a top 10 in the US, then I'd probably have a better chance of getting a record deal where they would let me actually sing the music I want to sing or talk about what I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about my body. I want to talk about the universe and the frequency, or maybe I want to talk shit and I want to say I had to put them on mute, like I don't know what I want to do, but I definitely don't want to be forced in any cookie cutter. So the best way to have that opportunity is to prove that you're a platinum songwriter.
Yeah, that really makes sense. So with the whole songwriting thing, since you said America has its own infrastructure where people can enter the fray with songwriting, what would you say about the same in India? Would you think that people should start focusing on writing songs before they start becoming musicians?
Well, there's 2 different things. There's the Bollywood industry and there's the independent music industry. Luckily, in India, the independent music industry is growing, but you have to understand the risks and the payoffs of that. So songwriting, the craft of songwriting is definitely a necessity. Everybody should be practicing songwriting that wants to do music. They should be writing a song a week. You should be like studying your favorite songwriters, what they've written and why those songs feel good. But the thing is, in India, the publishing game is different and people are doing things as work for hires. I mean, my goal in India is to try to set up a songwriting infrastructure within the independent music scene that resembles more like Los Angeles so that we can, train and raise up more songwriters. There's
I would definitely like to join that camp once you start.
I mean, I'm definitely, that's part of my life goals is, to leave behind an infrastructure in India and to kind of shape the way that the industry, the major label industry works in India, because there's endless amounts of talent. Like, I mean, I saw it on Hustle. Like, I didn't even get a chance to really work with them. But if I found an artist I liked, if I had 6 months with an artist, I can take them from beginning to end with an album fully produced. Like, I want to do that for people here, and I want people to learn, what their rights are and stuff. But it's going to take time. But definitely the musicians that are in position right now, the independent musicians, they're fighting for their publishing. So it's changing the game for everyone for the future. The more and more that we get, publishing and we get rights and we get credits where we're supposed to, like how in America it would be given, the more and more people are going to be recognized for it. But definitely songwriting for someone else is great. I mean, my song Bindis and Bangles, Divine wrote it with me. I mean, that has nothing to do with him. He's not going to put that song out. It has a song for him, but it's awesome that he lent his talent, to helping me write a song that's perfect for me.
I mean, I think that a lot of musicians, at least the indie musicians, they started out probably with an instrument or maybe starting electronically producing on a DAW or something. So I think the route for a lot of independent musicians is to just make music first, and the concept of songwriting is still so underrated here. So I think that infrastructure is really needed, especially kids in school.
Yeah,
And
I definitely think we need to learn those things, but I think also like songwriting, like the melody and lyric or the piano or whatever, it's like they don't need to be thought of as one has to come first. Like somebody can write a melody and then write the music around it, or somebody can give
yeah,
me a track and then I write the melody. But I think it's just important that we just start making more music. That's the thing. There just needs to
yeah,
be more music, more albums out, more artists. Like the fact that this many labels sprung up this year, in
yeah, yeah.
2019, is a great sign that proves
Great
that
sign.
it proves that we're going in the right direction. And with more labels, there's more opportunity, there's more variety. That's the best thing you can do for any industry. You know.
Yeah. So about your songs, the songs that you've written, how do you go? How did you go about publishing them, or are you getting any royalties of those songs?
So I'm in a different position because I've decided to partner with a major label. I mean, if you're an independent musician, there's plenty of ways to put the music out. You can, you can work with companies like Orchard, and you can.
No, I'm not talking about a distribution. I'm talking about publishing. Um,
I'm published by Pulse. I've been published by a publishing company since 2012. So their job is to collect
okay.
my royalties worldwide. But unfortunately, India doesn't really pay out royalties because there's
Exactly.
still, still those issues. But hopefully one day they will collect those. But I definitely have my royalties collected worldwide by my publishing company in the U.S. And
Right.
most of the money that I make in India is off of live performances and
Right.
endorsements. And
Yeah. Yeah.
shows like
That
that.
was one of my queries as to because like currently the way to earn money in India is only through performances,
Which is obviously
and
a little bit just taken back for a second.
sorry, yeah, I think there was some disturbance from.
No, I was just saying, obviously, that's going to be taking a little hit for a second.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we can start focusing on songwriting, and hopefully that infrastructure gets built up in a couple of years. And
Yeah, I think
that's
there's a lot of things. I think songwriting, the great thing about the craft of songwriting is that you can't like you can't take it away from someone. If it's a well-written song, it's a well-written song. It doesn't matter where it comes from. So the best way to do that is for people to invest in teaching others, and that's why I mean, I have a lot
I
of
agree.
people in the next couple of years to bring a lot of that kind of education to India.
Right. So, I mean, I think that's really great that you have the vision of, it's kind of an entrepreneurial vision. And while you're also so uh, immersed in your own art, I want to just know how you take the time to come up with these ideas and take these initiatives.
The entrepreneurial ideas are the music, like the writing.
The entrepreneurial ideas, yeah.
I
Since
just
we
like
were talking about,
I just get a vision of what needs to be done, and I just move forward with it. I think I'm really an advocate of lists and manifestation. And I think it's
right,
the first step of any kind of thing is just belief that it's possible. And then just like
yeah,
kind of finding the right people to complete the team, because that's what's really
yeah,
necessary. I'm just pulling through. But when I look at India, I just think about, had I grown up in India, I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I had to like grow up in Los Angeles and be around Timbaland and be around all these crazy people
yeah,
because
yeah,
my talent got me in the room, but the proximity to Los Angeles definitely helped. So
yeah,
what can I do to make sure that little girls like me that are growing up in India that didn't get the opportunities I got? Like, how can I make sure that they also get a chance, and that's going to be through some of these programs that I'd love to organize. And I just see how it
sure,
works in America, and I just
yeah,
know what we need. So it's
yeah.
just going to
And
take.
that was really important because most part of the indie industry does need a sort of a guidance in terms of how the system should be organized.
Yeah, but luckily, I've been to so many songwriting camps, and luckily I would love to dedicate my life to making sure that we set that up there. So there's a lot of people like that. Even the things that Gully Gang is doing, and the
How,
things
yeah,
that Ink Inc is doing, and
yeah,
everyone's doing it. It's really making an environment. Think about how many more rappers there are now out that you know about.
yeah.
Prior,
And Gully Gang actually just organized a recent songwriting camp.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I saw the boys. They did a camp for their team. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And that's
So
how
I was really happy to
most
see all
things
that.
are written in America. Like, I mean, a lot. Like, I had a camp for my second album.
Mhm.
Where people came and wrote with me for my album, and I went
Was
to
this the one
Atlanta.
in Bali?
That was actually a camp I went to too. I went to a camp in I've been to camps in Bali and Jamaica. I went to one in France, and these are set up all over the world. And it's kind of something that happens, everywhere else in the world. And we just need to bring that to India. So I'm really excited that the Gully
Yeah,
Gang did their writing camp, and that's something that me and Divine have talked about a lot. So I know
yeah,
he knows the value in that, and he definitely is someone that I think thinks the same as me about building, like an infrastructure and a future for India for the music industry because
right.
Bollywood is always going to be there, but obviously people now know that independent music is important, and people want
Yeah,
to express themselves, and it can't always be expressed through a film. That doesn't make sense for everyone.
right. So how did you sort of come in touch with Divine? And I see you've done quite a few collabs with him.
Yeah, Divine's one of my good friends in India. I think he really helped me kind of settle into India. But I only met him online through our music. We were just friends through music. And I had
Yeah,
sent him an album, and he sent me City Slums and asked me to do a collaboration. And that was kind of how our friendship began. And I came in 2016 and performed with him at NH7, for his
yeah,
set. And that was it. I moved to India the next year. I had so much fun on that first tour that I just, I
yeah,
wanted to build. But Divine has been a great support to me, and he's helped me understand a lot of things about India and the
yeah.
industry. And he's actually a very astute businessman, and I've learned a lot from him. But yeah, he's I think there's a lot of great music coming out of that camp. So I'm happy about the things
Oh,
he's doing. How he's the different producers he's working with and bringing into his fold, and I think he's going to really do a lot to keep hip hop alive in India.
I really love the song City Slums, by the way. The hook is
Thank
really
you.
catchy. I'm coming from your gully.
Yeah.
It's really nice. So, since you said that you've worked with a lot of producers in India, what is the process like? How do you select who to work with, and like you work with different producers on different songs? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bollywood stuff obviously comes from the music director of the film. When
Right,
it comes
right.
to like, my collaborations and stuff like that, a lot of the music I've made, I've had with beats from outside of India, but I've worked with a couple cool producers in India. I have a song. So some of the guys that worked on, like some of the Gully Gang producers. The
Hmm.
process for me really is like I just need to like the beat. If I like the
Right.
track, if I like the vibe of it, even sometimes if I don't even feel like it's exactly what I like, but it just has the energy of it, then I can always have somebody
Yeah.
else finish it, if there's something missing from it or something different. But I just like the energy of the track needs to be there, and if it inspires me to sing melodies immediately, then that's usually a good sign. But I always write the melody first because the language is really um,
Yeah.
it can change. It can be a Hindi song, it can be a Tamil song, it can be a Telugu song. So that should teach you that the language actually doesn't matter. It's really melody that is speaking, for everything.
So, do you sort of have an input whether you want this song to sound a bit more Indian, or should it be more in the hip hop spectrum?
Yeah, I mean,
Things like
I'm input. I'm the one choosing it. So, I mean, the producer may have like a track and I really like the flute, but I don't like the beat. So I'll be like, oh, let's take this sample and let's put it on a trap beat. But like, I definitely, I just need the vibe to be right. Like, I like my music to have definitely really bass, like a lot of hip hop when it comes like a urban
that.
hip hop, bassy 808 kind of vibe.
Yeah,
But I like it to have some kind of Indian element, whether it's me, whether I'm the Indian element, or whether it's an instrument or some kind of rhythm. But that's kind of like how I hear music. So even if they don't put it in the track, I end up doing it.
Right. Sorry. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much how you work on. I mean, that's pretty much your input on the track. Because you're focusing more on the melodies. I mean, the songwriting.
Yeah, but I mean, the track too. Sometimes I'll sing a melody to the producer and be like, "Can you make the flute go like this?" So it's like it really just depends. If it just depends on the situation. Sometimes I'll hear a track and the way that it is, and I'll just write to it, and I don't make any changes.
Right. So actually, I forgot to ask you about this. Since you were like so immersed in Indian classical culture and everything, was there a time when you felt like probably learning how to sing Indian classical music, learn that?
It's so weird. I had it like I remember I learned for like maybe a few months as a kid, so I have like the basics and understanding of like tal and everything like that. And I obviously had a very close relationship with Indian classical music through my dance because I'd be like touring with orchestra. I don't know. Whenever I would sit down to learn music, I always felt like I didn't want to learn it. I would just always understood it. Like I guess it became boring to me the second I tried to learn it. So I mean, I'm sure I wish I had done it because I would have maybe had more of like an Indian voice. But it's always been like a prism. It's always been like I hear it and then I interpret it and I create something new. So I guess whatever it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that the classical aspect is really well captured, even through instruments and the things that you sort of portray in your video, and that's really interesting in itself. Hello, can I?
Yeah,
can you hear me?
Yeah, that's definitely the goal.
Right. So, what kind of a response have you received ever since you came to India and started things off from the fans mainly, and then even the artists that started checking you out?
Everything has been really. People have been really open to me musically, and the fans have been super, receptive. It's just like they were really welcoming, and I think that's what really made it easy for me to make the decision to move to India, kind of move away from my whole family. It's because the love was just like unparalleled, and I think also the freedom of creation, like. India just kept giving me these stages where I was able to like experiment. So I just kept being able to grow as an artist. And I think that that's so important, having the ability to really just try different things, just experiment on stage. So, I mean, I think that since the beginning, I mean, and all the artists I've been able to work with, like Kailash Kher, I've been able to like work with like medieval planets and, work on Bollywood stuff. So I have no complaints. I've had a lot of love.
You sort of had a piece of all the pies that you can get.
There's still a few more pies I'm trying to get, don't worry.
Right. And I think you've also met A.R. Rahman. That's quite a popular story on all your interviews online.
I'm a bit obsessed with him, so of course it's a popular story. Yeah. He's just, now he's become much like a mentor and somebody that his opinion I trust, and obviously his guidance, and I'm happy to call him a friend. Like if he ever sends an email and he says like, "Meet my friend Raja Kumari," I'm always like, "Holy shit!" A.R. Rahman just called me a friend. So it never gets old, but it's definitely, he's just, he's a wonderful, wonderful person. And I'm very thankful to be able to make music with him. And every time I get to work with him, I'm just like humbled. And I realize like that everything I'm doing is a dream, like every moment that I get to do this is a dream, because that was my dream, was to meet him. So, he's always anytime I'm stressed or I want to like complain about my charmed life, then I remember those moments.
Nice. So finally, like I just have maybe one question, and that's about your video content and artist branding and all your marketing and promotional stuff. I just probably would ask you, what would be your tips on artists who are up and coming and they are not so good at these things?
Yeah, I think you have to just figure out what your brand is. Figure out what's on brand for you and stick with that. And I think be authentic and don't be afraid to share. who you are with your
Right.
fans. I think
Does it
also,
mean that you need to sort of sign up with an expensive agency that markets you well, or
I think
someone who can?
all my first music videos were made with me and my friend on a 5D camera, like Mute, Believe in You. That was all made with, we didn't even have lighting,
Okay.
so I think you don't need an expensive firm or anything like that. I think people that are, this is the best time to be an independent artist because you have everything
Right.
at your fingertips. The programs to make the music are not that expensive anymore. They're accessible. The internet is free. It's available. Fans can find you on their own. Your song can blow up on TikTok. There's so many ways in the world to get exposure. The most
Yeah.
important thing you have to do is just focus on the music being quality, because you can have
Yeah.
many levels of exposure, but if the music's not quality, and also if you only have one quality song and people come to you and then you have nothing to follow it with, then you might as well not have even had that first song.
Yeah.
So it's
And I think that's,
yeah.
yeah. Sorry, continue.
No, it's really just about just
Yeah.
being a content killer. I mean, how do you become a content killer? I make lists. I really make thought maps and lists. I just go, okay, like
Right.
how you go from point you are to point where you want to be, and how do you get there?
Mhm.
And plan it
Yeah.
and do it.
I think a lot of people, at least in India, they have this idea that, I mean, at least the ones who are very savvy with content marketing and all that, they sort of rush towards making the social image uh, before sort of being, ready
But
with
that's
the
like
music.
a house without foundation. It's gonna fall. That's why I always tell people. I'm like, it doesn't matter if you like get a million likes on your like jean jacket. Like if your
Yeah.
music is bad, your music is bad. Like then no one's gonna care.
Yeah.
The music has to be the most important. Like, right now I'm in quarantine, so I don't have my makeup artist and my stylist dressing me, and I'm not wearing capes and the things that people are used to seeing me wear.
In videos. Yeah.
But I'm still Raja Kumari, right? Like, so I'm still making that music, but that's because the music is there. So all this capes and fancy shit that I like to do, it's because I just enjoy it. I'm an Indian classical dancer, so we put 3 hours of makeup on as dancers. I'm not gonna go on stage in a t-shirt, like that's just the way I've been since I'm 6 years old. But the music. If I did a live stream in my living room the other day for NH7, and I was in a sweatshirt that said culture, and people were connecting, and that's the thing, is like you could peel away all my clothes and jewelry and whatever, but the music has to stand. That's
True.
important.
That's actually really important, I think, and I've been trying to point that out to artists as well on my previous episodes, and that is why I try to talk about songwriting and stuff like that with all the artists that I speak to, and uh, I mean, I've spoken to you the most about songwriting so far, and I would love to speak more about it so that. And I personally am a musician myself, and I've been teaching myself some songwriting at home on the keyboard. So I hope that this message really goes to the people and they take it in the right way.
I hope so too. But I think that things are changing, and there's definitely
The
going
good
to be
thing,
more.
the good thing I think about the people of India is that they are really open-minded and they are very open to ideas. So, I mean, take your music for example. People are like, I mean, the moment I saw it, I really appreciated it. But then I can see that, even when you release Bindi and Bangles, there were like over 2 million views in just 2 weeks,
Yeah.
which is, I think, phenomenal for an Indian artist. And
Yeah, especially because it's not like Punjabi and it's not attached to a film, like, so that's
yeah,
those,
plus there is no nudity in it.
oh yeah, no, it's just a little bit of, little bit of sexiness.
Yeah, that much is fine. That
It
much
was
is
like,
fine.
like traditional Indian sexiness. It's like sexiness from a temple wall. Like it wasn't great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that is like a kind of sexy, and that's more the real Indian sexy that needs to be seen.
And I want to see that more. I feel like with a lot of films, you just are getting, like, I used to watch films to see Indian outfits, and it's like that's impossible now. People are that's not even in Indian movies. So I think
Yeah.
that's definitely why I put it in my work, because it's something that I used to look forward to. So when things don't exist in the market anymore, I just make them myself.
Wow. So you are like designing your own clothes as well?
Oh, I mean, yeah, the costumes in that video were done with my team. I mean, I have a stylist that I work with and tailors and everything like that, but definitely it was influenced from watching,
Right. Yeah. I know. Right. Finally, I've seen you collaborate with Divine and a bunch of people in Bollywood. Since you have now signed on to Mass Appeal, I'm sure you will be also collaborating with artists outside of India. And that's what I want to talk about as to how you are taking this image of India to the world.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal. I think I've always wanted to make the East more approachable to the West. Because I think that like growing up as an American person, I'm very familiar with even the prejudices and and the fears that people have, and the
Mhm.
just what people feel. And so I felt like if I could be a proud South Asian woman, like the problem is, the thing is, they can't tell the difference between an Indian woman, an Iraqi woman, an Afghani woman, a Pakistani woman.
Yeah.
We all look the same to them. So I've understood that to be a strength of mine, not something, so instead of saying that we're different from them, we might as well understand that it's all of our issue, right? So that's something that I understood during, when Trump was taking his presidency. That's something that I felt really, strongly. And I just felt like, okay, if I can get America to love me for who I am and the things I say, then they're going to have a brown face, a familiar brown face that they love. And if they love me, then maybe they'll think twice about, when they hear about things happening in the eastern side of the world, they're going to think that they're me or my cousins. Like it gives some kind of like, familiarity to people. So, I mean, that's always been a part of it, but more about, it's more about just being present and being counted and just having representation, because it's just it's weird to watch people wear your culture like a costume and then tell you that you can't wear it, and it's weird to go home to India and be told you're not, like those things are weird. So I just want to live very strong, very proud, and very matter of fact, and just hope that inspires whoever is feeling similar to not feel like that, and just be in your own place and be where you are, and claim that space, claim that space for yourself, and not allow people to make you feel less than, because I'm sure people they definitely try,
So, do you think that, like, the artists that you collaborate with will be able to sort of embody this energy of yours? And I want to know how you might be thinking of collaborating with artists outside India who are not so savvy about the background that you come from.
I mean, I don't know.
Like, for example, see, I think you're coming out with a track collaboration with Cruella and Nervo. I read about it. It's a track called Goddess. So, I mean, I think the collaboration is pretty explosive. Like, it's going to be pretty epic. But sort of, I want to know how you approach them to do this, and sort of follow you into your fantasy.
Yeah, they approached me. Cruella, they're Pakistani girls, and I'm Indian girl from America, and I always just love the idea of us collaborating, because I just feel like when you can show that borders and limitate, things between people aren't real, and music kind of like transcends that. I love that, So the girls are just amazing, and we've been friends, through the internet for some time, and wanted to support each other. So I ended up putting the verse on that, and then they let me know that they brought in Nervo on it too. So just to be part of a collaboration with so many women is just like so much fun for me. So I'm rapping on it, and the girls are singing. So it's just a great record. It's fun. I'm excited for everyone to hear it. We make all this music, and then you have to wait like 2 years sometimes for you guys to hear it. So it's just like every time the record's about to release, all you hear people say is, "I'm so excited," because it's like finally it's coming out. Even MRI was done quite some time ago.
So are you saying that this track has been in the works for a while now?
It has been in the works for a while. Yes, I've definitely gone back and fixed the vocals quite a few times. So yes.
Similarly, do you have any other tracks? I mean, I won't ask you who the collaborations are with, but do you also have a few more tracks that you're excited about?
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about the new album. It's the first time I ever recorded an album in Bombay instead of recording it in the US and bringing it back to India. I actually recorded it in India. So that's kind of special for me because, it really captured my perspective when I'm living there, because a lot of times everything's written when I get back and I'm reflecting and it's just different. So I'm excited just to share it. I mean, I love putting out new projects. I love having new music to perform for people, and I love feeding the people with new energies. And there's a couple songs on there. There's one song that I feel is just like a mantram straight up. So it just has a good vibe mantram. So I'm just like ready. And this whole situation, the album was supposed to come out much later, but I've been working with the label and we're working on pushing up the release, months early so we can get it out to the people since everybody's at home, so I want to get it to them sooner.
Awesome. I think we've covered almost everything that I had in mind to ask you.
Okay, great.
Apart from that, I think I'm just seeing this. Okay, so you have a short documentary film also coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
It came out. It's called. It was done by Sony, not the label, but the company, and it's called So Far. And they came all the way to Mumbai, and they followed me and talked about my life and what it's been like to move to India, away from America, and kind of about identity and everything.
Is this on YouTube or something? Is there a way we can watch it?
You can check for it. Yeah, it's on my page. If you just search Raja Kumari So Far, it'll come up, and it's actually so well made, and it was amazing to be able to share my life and just have it so well filmed. They followed me to the Beer Festival where I was headlining, and I had this amazing costume changes, and they captured it on a red epic, and those kinds of moments never come back. Obviously, we're going through this experience now, so being able to go back and watch myself with a crowd like that just gives me hope, and it keeps me focused on my real duty on earth, and that's to spread joy and peace, and to inspire people. So we just got to get through this quarantine. I'm going to make you guys a new album on quarantine after the bridge, another one, and hopefully we all get back to being together again soon and being at festivals and really. Because that's where the magic happens. It's definitely in person.
Yeah, and I was actually gonna ask you in the end what you do on your days off, but we already started with that since we are quarantining. So
yeah, I'm just my days off are pretty much quarantined anyways. So I've been training for this. Yeah, because I would tour however many days, and then the days that I had have off, I don't want to go anywhere. I would just close the door and go Wiggy for 3 meals. But
for sure.
Yeah, but I'm in. I don't want to say I'm enjoying the quarantine because that's it's kind of rude because there's so much madness happening in the world. But I definitely needed a break in order to regroup and enjoy what I'm experiencing, and also because you can't go back and redo this. And I feel like I really want to be present because it's a beautiful dream to live this, and I want to be present. So I'm thankful for this time with my family and with myself.
Yeah, this period I think really nothing better exemplifies the meaning of blessing in disguise.
Yeah, especially I think all the artists are very happy right now. There's so many memes because it's like stay inside, and it's all the producers and artists are laughing because it's we're made for this. That's what we do.
Yeah. So I mean, this period is quite interesting in good and bad ways, and that actually gave me the chance to speak to you because otherwise you would have been really busy. And,
I was supposed to still be in India till April 9th, and I was supposed to be some Ayurvedic retreat, and then I was so this is. My Ayurvedic retreat at home has a little more red wine than that one was going to have, but it's fine.
Wow. So when are you planning to come back to India? Anytime soon, or it's still
No, I mean, like, I have
no?
plans to return in mid-June, but obviously it all depends on the filming schedule for Hustle and what happens. So as soon as
Right.
I'm allowed to enter my beautiful motherland, I will be back. I'd like to
Right.
return as soon as it's safe for me to return. I'd like to return.
Right. And when should we expect the new album to drop?
I mean, I can't give a date yet, but I want to say in the next like 2 months. I mean, April 10th, the single's dropping. I could just
Uh-huh.
say the album's done. So it's just like logistics.
So all the post production is done, and even all the videos are done.
The videos are not done. See, this world is a different world now, so we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do visually
Yeah.
because I can't obviously put together a team or I can't film on the street. So gonna have to get creative and we'll figure out what we're gonna do. But I think I think giving people the audio is just as important.
Right. And did you have any sort of show cancellations and
Oh, of course, man.
stuff like that? Like basically.
What? I had like 5 shows and the like it's crazy because those are like the shows that pay for like most of the year. Like those shows, the ones during that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Damn. The big
Fine.
ones.
Yeah, they were big ones, but it's fine. I'm alive. I'm safe. I have somewhere where I can quarantine, and
True.
I made it all the way back to my family. So
True.
maybe if I had been there and did the show, maybe someone may have gotten sick, and I wouldn't want that on my conscience. So,
Right.
everything's okay. Everything. I mean, no matter how crazy it looks right now, the world clearly has proven that it needs art and music. So that means that my job
Yeah.
is not going to disappear. My job is going to
I
be
mean,
very necessary very soon. So I'm not.
there's
worried.
actually never been a better time for arts in the world.
I mean, imagine if you made like a next Netflix movie. Like you're like lit right now. Like if you could film with one person, you're good. If you can keep it under 5 people, socially distanced, then you're like lit.
Yeah. Yeah. It could be a great reality show as well.
Oh man, we're all in a reality show right now, basically.
Pretty much. Feels like that. All right, Sweta, it's been great chatting with you.
Thank you.
I have uh, I have to get in touch with you again if you ever start that songwriting
Oh no, you'll
show.
know. I'll definitely make it. Just keep watching my space, and it's something I've been trying to work on for the last 2 years. And actually, now that I have all this downtime, maybe we can get everything up and running by next year. So I'm definitely working on it, and it's something I'm committing to the people. We would definitely start setting up this infrastructure.
Cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, yeah, thank you for being here and stay safe.
You too.
And hope you can come up with some really great music. Maybe you can write another album in this period and release it by the end of the year or something.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
I wish you the best. Good luck with everything.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Mhm.